Hello there, everybody. Welcome to Tea Time. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jared.
And today we have another discussion on the Nintendo Switch, but first...
Today, Alex and I are drinking a classic Earl Grey tea, unfortunately decaffeinated. That's all we had at our location.
Yeah,
and,
abomination.
with a non-dairy creamer and...
It's actually half and half, though. I checked.
Well, great, Alex.
No, non-dairy creamers are garbage.
So glad you're on top of everything. And Alex and I have reason to believe it's probably, I'd say it's probably like 8 years old.
Cool.
Tastes pretty good still.
Yeah,
for Earl Grey.
Tea leaves. All right, so let's just dive straight into this. We'll be enjoying this. It's a little warm, so pardon the slurping.
Yeah.
All right, first thing on the agenda, console screen.
Console screen, same size as the Wii U, if I'm correct.
I believe it is. However, I think it's a little slimmer.
Absolutely.
I think it's a 19 or a 9 by 16 as opposed to whatever
With the Joy-Cons attached, it's a sleeker version, I'd say, of the Wii U gamepad. A refined, the way it looks.
Okay. Yeah. No,
Not the way it works, the way it looks.
I think so. Now, specifically on the screen,
Okay,
we have a couple things. It is 6.2 inches, and it is a resistive touchscreen as opposed to capacitive. Thank goodness. As well as it is running 720p. Thoughts?
Well,
Let's start with the size. 6.2 inches, which is about that large from diagonal to diagonal. Sorry guys, you can measure out 6.2 on yourselves.
on yourselves,
Yeah.
anywhere on your body, anyone on your person, measure out 6.2 inches.
Yeah, that's how large the screen is.
Yeah.
What do you think that's large enough, Jared? Or too large for what it's trying to be?
No, I don't think it is large enough.
You don't think it's large enough?
I don't think it's large enough because I feel as if a console, whether it's a hybrid or not, should be a step up from a handheld. You know, because I love my 3DS, right? The screen for what it's capable of is perfect. Then again, I have the 3DS. You and I both have XLs.
Yeah.
Very popular in the American market, right?
Yeah.
Western. But personally, I think if it was just maybe an inch and a half larger, it would make a difference. Maybe the resolution could be higher if it was a little bit bigger. But think about this. The screen's resolution, there are phones that stream 1080p and 4K and they're smaller.
Yeah. No, it's not the screen size is not terribly important except for the number of pixels in there. However, I would like to stress that it can run 1080p just not on the native screen. Now, I know that is important, pixel density and all that. However, you have fun with your 3DS, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah,
I
that
do.
screen is pretty large. It's also running a 4:3 ratio, which is less attractive to modern eyes, I'd say.
I would agree with that.
But do you know the resolution on that screen? Here's a hint. It's garbage.
It is garbage.
It is 240.
Mm-hmm.
This is significantly better than that, but you still enjoy the game.
Absolutely. I still enjoy the games that are presented on my 3DS. I just feel at a console level, the Wii U also had 720.
Yeah. But it
Why
also...
would Nintendo not increase that? Why would they feel that they didn't? Where in that conference or that meeting where they were talking about the console screen itself, why could they not bump it up to 1080p? Why was that not done? Is my question.
I'm under the impression that's probably to save on battery life.
Oh, okay. I see. I could see that there.
Because it is more draining to have more pixels and also more... It require more energy. And that's,
I see. I could see that.
I think that's why, although, frankly, I'm not Nintendo. I think they decided that between the battery life and the expense up to the screen, I feel like they felt like this was a reasonable standpoint. And I'm with them on this. I have a Samsung Galaxy S7, and that screen is gorgeous. However, it also cost me $750.
That's true. That's true. It did. It did cost you that. I have an iPhone 7, and it is also gorgeous, and it cost me around the same.
Exactly. This is not a $700 item, and I wouldn't want it to be. So
True.
For that, I'm okay with the 720, frankly. So I don't know. The resolution for me doesn't matter, because mostly I'm going to be not playing it on the go anyway.
Which is true for me, too. If
Exactly.
I were to purchase one, which in the previous video I had stated that I was not.
Yeah.
But for the sake of argument, it's just, I think with the times and with the rate of technology is advancing, I think Nintendo
Is dropping it.
is dropping the ball a little bit
Yeah.
with it. I feel like, there could have been some way to maybe get a little bit more battery life into a little bit more of a powerful handheld. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and I'm sure it could. However, once again, that all comes out in the cost. So they may have been able to, but they are a company. They are a business.
That is very true. Very true.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm okay with it. Jared is a little more hesitant to think that it's gonna withstand time. It sounds like it's gonna be.
Because I want the Nintendo Switch to do well, because I want to feel, I want consumers to feel the same way I did when Nintendo released the kind of groundbreaking, wall-breaking, trend-defying console that was the Wii back in the mid-2000s.
Yeah.
And the Wii U didn't do all that well in
can't say
sales, I really want the Nintendo Switch to do well.
And you think that it would with a better screen?
I think it would do better for a lot of different reasons, but on the screen itself, I would say that if it was a little bit better of a resolution, maybe a consumer like myself would be more inclined to go in and try to beat that pre-order cap at a GameStop or somewhere before it goes out.
Yeah.
And I didn't do that because I'm like just not all that interested in getting one with what I've seen so far.
Yeah, and that's important. I mean, specs in general impact how you think of a console.
Yeah.
And I think
Exactly.
that is, if anything, that's going to hinder it the most. People are going to look at it and be like, "Nah, the screen's already not great," and they don't necessarily factor in their considerations. And I think that's reasonable. However, I don't know. Do you have anything else to say about the screen?
No, I think I'm good. What about
Yeah.
you?
I have heard a lot of people say that it is a really good-looking screen. People that had played the sample in the New York showing. I've heard people do nothing but say good things about it. So I'm going to have to wait to see one. I think it'll look better than we think it will. And, I mean, it's a console strapped with a screen on it. So,
Right.
I don't know.
Pretty much everything as a child I dreamed of.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's kind of funny because now that it's out, I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah, maybe I don't want it.
Right. Anyway.
Yeah. So next up on the hardware bit, internal memory, an abysmal 32 gigabytes.
Oh boy, man, that is
Yeah.
just that I've never heard of that before. That is
Yes,
just too
you-
much space.
Well, I know, man.
Now it is internal memory.
Yes.
So it comes inside the
Yeah.
system itself. So say you didn't have an SD card and you bought your Switch, picked up your Switch, you got Zelda. Zelda's 14 point something gigabytes, right?
Presuming you download it.
Presuming you download it, right? That's half your internal memory.
Is it
at
14
at
or
the
4?
go.
I don't remember. It's one of those. It's a
But
large number.
Nintendo is combating that with external memory. So you
Which-
can put in SD cards to have more memory, which as I don't know what I'm trying to say here.
I'm not sure.
As
it's
as a medium for solving that potential issue, it's a great idea.
yeah, no, I'm all for it. Frankly, that's one of my problems with most modern cell phones, and I say most, I mean most flagship cell phones these days, is they don't allow you to upgrade your space.
That's very true.
That's important to me.
I remember those old little flip phones, with the first like precursor to touch keyboard text smartphones, you had a slot.
Yeah, you always did. And until...
Shout out Samsung impression. Boop.
Ooh, no one had one of those.
Hey.
Yeah.
I did.
No, this actually supplies or supports micro SD XC cards. And those presently run up to 200 gigabytes, I think.
Right.
I think they... Well, of course, they're going to get larger sooner or later. That's
Here's
just
the
how
thing.
technology goes.
For those of you watching right now, the memory across the board with Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo has always been a concern of mine, because sometimes they don't allow for external memory to be utilized. Like Microsoft, when they launched the Xbox One, you could not update the hard drive itself. You could utilize external sources, external hard drives, to expand that space. Sony launched the PlayStation with the idea in mind that consumers could update the hard drive that was given, which I did with my PlayStation. I upgraded from a 500 gigabyte to a 2 terabyte Samsung Spin Point hard drive, which cost me about $80. With Nintendo, you're gonna have to get a micro SD card, so you have to factor that into the cost of having a very high functioning Nintendo Switch. If you want to download, a bunch of games on there, I'm sure Nintendo on the Nintendo eStore is going to have some games available, from the past, or so to speak, because that's what they do. They did that with the Wii. They did it with all the other
their virtual
systems.
console.
Their virtual console, so to speak.
Yeah. However, to combat that, were you done?
No.
Cool. Keep going.
But I would like to hear what you have to say.
Oh, I was going to say, to combat that, who doesn't have an SD card? Who alive today does not have an SD card they can just slip in there?
I don't.
You're weird. Cool talk.
Which brings me to the Nintendo Switch with the internal memory is $300.
Yes. Along with, of course, the other things it comes with.
But for a consumer like me to have a good SD card, that's another expense I have to factor into that.
Yeah, it is. However,
I wish the Nintendo Switch came with micro SD. That'd be cool.
It'd be cool, and I mean the 3DS did it, but once again, they're trying to keep their costs down. Right. And that $300, it's more than a lot of people wanted, but it's not unreasonable for what you're getting. And we can discuss that later ad nauseum. But
here's the thing I'd like to just say here.
Uh-huh.
I'd like to pull up something here. So, the Switch's internal storage is going to need expanding over time, right?
Internal storage? I don't think you can.
With the SD card.
Okay.
Expanding the 32 gigs internally by having an external SD card.
Okay.
SD cards can range from $40 to, if you want to get really high capacity, hundreds of dollars right now.
That's you can find a solid 64
People
gigabyte.
don't want to try to find it, Alex.
No,
they want it.
I'm saying literally, you can walk
them.
into Best Buy, get a 64 gigabyte one for $20.
That's 64 gigs. That is nothing in the video gaming industry. That is nothing. That is garbage.
That is like 7 games. All
that is
digital
garbage.
add-ons.
That is garbage.
It's not that bad.
I have
for $20. That's not that bad.
The Assassin's Creed games on my Sony PlayStation. I love them. You know how many gigs each of those games is?
Like 13.
It's like 55 or 60 gigabytes.
See, I think that's just because they didn't make the game well. Ubisoft aside, no, I mean
AAA games that look great and run really well have a really high storage
requirement.
Well, so I feel like that's an issue.
However, a lot of the information will be stored on the cartridges. So unless you're planning on downloading everything, which first of all I wouldn't, because that's, I don't know. You can if you want to, but you will run into this issue eventually. However, the cartridges are essentially using cartridges instead of discs, because we didn't specify that last time. They have the capacity to carry significantly more than discs are. And with that comes usually game saves. Or even if the game save is saved on the console memory, you're saving like megabytes as opposed to gigabytes. So, I don't know. I think it comes down to whether or not you're going to download things. Because if you're downloading things, then that is a problem. That is, frankly, a problem.
I still think that the idea of if you want to have a Nintendo Switch console that has a ton of space on it, you're going to have to fork out some serious dough to make that happen.
Well,
you will have to do that.
I don't know. See, SD cards are getting cheaper by the day.
Yeah, but they're not getting any smaller.
No, but they shouldn't be. Because they have to... Wait, smaller? Like size-wise, or...?
Yeah, they're not getting any smaller, and the bigger they get, they're not going to get any cheaper.
But they have been. I mean, you couldn't pick up a gigabyte flash drive 10 years ago for under $100. Now they're pocket change. Sorry about that, by the way.
Right, but I don't think you're seeing my point.
Okay.
My point is, it costs me $80 to go from 500 to 2 terabytes.
Yeah, that's an increase of
1,500 gigabytes.
Yeah.
To do the same thing to a Nintendo Switch, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg, so to speak. They make 2 terabyte SD cards. They make them. Say a consumer wants that. Sure, that may not be in the market scope of Nintendo. It's probably not. But if someone wanted to do that, they're going to have to shell out some serious cash to make that happen.
Yeah, for 2 terabytes, sure.
Up against, even for like 500 up to a terabyte of space, it's going to cost you about $150, $200 extra dollars to make that happen, which turns your idea of a Nintendo Switch from a $300 to a $450, $500 console that you want to have that capacity to do so.
But do you need that at the start?
Some people want that.
Want or need?
Some people need that. I needed that when I bought my...
But there won't even be that many games out.
That's a problem in of itself.
Yeah, but I mean, at the start, you're paying the $300, and eventually you're going to want to upgrade that. Anyone will. Everyone will. And of course, I'm not negating the fact that you should put that into your budget, but is that required at the beginning?
You can buy an Xbox One S 1 terabyte for $200.
$250.
Still cheaper.
Yeah, but is it as cool? And
is it as cool? Subjective reasoning.
Hey, what else? Nintendo lives off subjective rationale.
So just objectively, the memory sucks.
Yeah, the 32 gigabytes is garbage, but again, it's on a portable game thing.
That's true.
Your phone is 64 gigabyte?
128.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Apple, for at least offering that. But a fair number of them are still 32 gigabytes. And once again, those are $500 things. Of course, I keep relating this to a cell phone because it kind of is like one.
Absolutely, I would agree with that.
Yeah. So if the price points don't match up, of course, that's because they're selling, more. But Nintendo, I feel like I don't like the 32 number, but I'll live with it.
I hate the 32 number.
Yeah, that's fair. But I also have a 64 gigabyte SD card that'll last me for some time because I like having cartridges or I like having discs.
Right.
So,
but an accessory such as an external SD card for the consumer that doesn't have one going into it is a problem.
I don't see it as such, and I don't know if people looking for this as a console will. And I say I don't mean the hardcore gamers. There are hardcore parentheses around that included in that. I think they're trying to appeal more to semi-casual. I don't want to say casual because that's the Wii market, and we see what happened with that. But the semi-casual market and the people that already have SD cards.
Still a problem.
It is. Well, a problem for some.
Still a problem.
You know,
Point.
still a problem
Case and point. Moving
for
on.
some. Thoughts on the Joy-Cons?
I think
So
the
this
Joy-Cons
is
are
part of the
adorable.
hardware.
I think the Joy-Cons are adorable.
Mm-hmm.
The one issue I have looking at, I haven't played with them yet, obviously. In games such as 1-2 Switch or when any other future titles come out, when you are controlling
Are you
the
saying
Joy-Con
vertically?
independently, like this, the buttons
No, they don't know.
line up.
Are
The buttons don't line up from.
Are you saying
when they're
using
going
it
from
horizontally?
vertically and then going to using it horizontally? You're gonna have to learn 2 different ways of holding the Joy-Con.
It's true, and of course you'll have a preference.
Yeah.
That's
And then one Joy-Con has the home button and one Joy-Con has the capture button.
Yeah. I wonder if that'll have an impact. I wonder that if, when they're separated, they'll act independently for 2-player games. I don't know.
Probably will. But I would hope that in a 2-player game where they're connected, the home button and the capture button won't be an imperative part of gameplay. Obviously.
Yeah.
Unless you're going with the party game route where it would work, but for other kind of multiplayer games, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think it'll be much of an impact. I don't know. I think they look interesting.
I want to hold one.
Exactly. I feel like we can't really say much until we do.
Yeah.
However, going off of people that have held them, a lot of people like them. They feel like they are packed with technology, which is something that I've heard pretty frequently.
They are jam-packed with tech.
Which is good.
It is. That shows promise for Nintendo.
Yeah, and
obviously
the Switch in general. I feel that the fact that they put so much into their controller is important, because if they don't have good controllers, that's not good for the system in general. Mm-hmm. Kind of like the Ouya, which had a terrible controller and was basically failed on start, partially in fact due to that. If you don't know what the Ouya is, don't worry about it. You're not missing much.
That's okay. I'm with you, everybody. I just kind of gave Alex a weird face.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. I don't know. I want to try them. I think we will try them eventually. They're going to come to a Best Buy.
Yeah.
They're having a thing in San Francisco in February.
Oh.
Yeah, anyway. So...
I'd like San Fran.
Yeah, I know.
Cisco.
We'll just talk a little bit of the configurations. It comes, of course, with the Joy-Con right and left controllers, the Joy-Con grip, which comes naturally. I hear it's very comfortable.
It looks comfortable.
I didn't think it looked comfortable, but apparently it is very comfortable.
It looks like the version of the a different version of the PS4 DualShock 4 grips.
Yeah.
Which I find very comfortable. So that shows promise for me.
I just thought they looked boxy, and that tends not to feel great in the hand. But of
Well,
course,
it is a box with grips.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So I'm gonna reserve judgment. I'm gonna see how it feels in the hand.
It looks like traditional, gimmicky Nintendo fashion.
Does it? I feel like it looks a little sleeker.
Maybe it's a little maybe it's homage to the GameCube or something.
I don't think they
really
care about
boxy
the
look.
GameCube
You know what I
much.
mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Totally. That's totally what it is.
However, fun note: if you were to buy a Joy-Con individually, they are $50.
As opposed to $80 for a pair.
Yeah, which
What
seems
is that?
a little expensive. Although, here's the thing: if it is in fact as jam-packed with technology as they say it is, and the people that have tried it say it is, what do you feel about that price point? Uh-huh. I'm waiting. The world is waiting. Uh-huh.
Well, I guess it'll just depend on how many games require more than 2 Joy-Cons.
Or even just as repair. Or, replacement.
Replacement?
Yeah.
I think it's a little expensive.
Yeah.
I would wait to buy more. I would baby my Joy-Cons, baby everything. I take very good care of my tech stuff, making sure it's all very clean.
Yeah.
I think $50 for a left or right Joy-Con, and then you get you got buy frickin' two.
Yeah.
Buy the 2-pack, everybody.
Yeah.
For one over the other, it's like they're making you choose whether you want the Joy-Con R and all of its features, or you want the Joy-Con L and all of its features. Blah blah blah. Why did you just buy the controllers as a pair? Come on. Why even offer them separately if you're going to charge them more?
Because that's how bulk works. Selling in bulk. You know, it's economics.
I don't care.
Yeah. However, they do offer the right and left and right or left in alternating colors, just like you wanted. You wished they came with just blue. Although, of course, as of yet, it does not come included with the base model.
I wish it did.
I know.
See, right there, it's just kind of like, come on, Nintendo.
Well, they know there's a desire, and they know some people will be willing to pay for it. Likewise, there is the Pro Controller.
Mm-hmm.
They've been doing this since the Wii with the Pro Controller.
Yeah, I know. Never bought one.
Yeah, well, that's fair. I don't know how useful this will be. I love the Pro Controller on the Wii U. That's pretty much my go-to. However...
Yeah, for like Smash Bros.
Exactly. For basically
Blade.
everything that I don't want to look at a screen for. Wii U, pretty much worthless controller. But I hear that everyone that thought they would want the controller, pretty much going into the New York thing, they're like, I could wait. I could just use the Joy-Cons. And at this point, I might
basically
agree.
Gives you a boxier version of a Pro Controller.
A boxier? Oh, that, yeah. However, it doesn't come with a D-pad. So if you need a game that needs a D, or if you have a game that requires a D-pad, then you're pretty much
gonna spend $69.99 plus tax.
Relegated to the Switch Pro Controller.
Right. But my question is, I know they can charge whatever they want.
Yeah.
For
controllers,
but that's even more than an extra peripheral Sony or Microsoft controller.
Yeah, and actually it's if I'm not mistaken, $20 more than the Wii U Pro Controller.
So what is it the HD Rumble?
It might be the HD Rumble. It also has NFC capabilities and motion control. So there's a lot in there.
But
Don't get me wrong.
So does the DualShock 4.
It has an NFC chip?
What the hell's an NFC?
Near field communication. So it has the ability to read and write on a chip. Like an amiibo.
Oh.
Yeah. Just like an amiibo.
Could have said amiibo.
Well, NFC...
Nintendo would need an NFC.
Yeah.
For all those amiibos sitting on your shelf.
Exactly.
See, there you go. That's why, whatever.
Yeah, that's a subject for a different
about
matter. There is a Joy-Con charging grip. A lot of people are griping that the original doesn't charge. I don't really care. They have a 20-hour life expectancy, and that's just unplugged. So if you left it, I feel like that's adequate. I don't feel like charging one of the square grips is required enough for me to care. Because I think naturally I'm going to have them on... Well, actually, now that I think about it, I might want an external charging thing. Because I care about that screen so much that I might not want to use those rails much.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Maybe they're trying to keep the price down of the launching console by not including a Joy-Con charging grip.
And I don't even think that's necessary. I think it's okay that they're not. Anyway, continue.
Prices will go down.
Yeah.
Eventually, but you have to give it time.
It's true.
Maybe we can't guarantee how many more sales they'd have if they, put a charging grip in the launch box. It would all just be about that small niche market. Like, I'm not going to buy a Switch unless it has a charging grip in it.
Yeah. And I don't think there are that many people that care that much. So Nintendo is offering a fair number of options for the controllers. They're granting the Pro Controller, the color options, the charging grip. Do you care anything about any of that?
No.
Cool.
I don't think I care enough to talk about it.
Would you care if you were going to get one?
No, probably not.
Cool. I think that's pretty simple. Color, I want it black.
See, here's the thing. Color, I get it. Blue and red.
Yeah.
Even though I would love just to have 2 blue Joy-Cons.
Yeah.
But I would have to shell out $80.
But the color is a little vibrant. Does that not bother you?
I'm a vibrant person, Alex.
That's
what can
fair.
I say? I'm in theater. Come on.
Yes, quite. I don't think I'm going to get the Pro, at least not to start.
I wouldn't get one either.
Yeah.
I never got one for my other console.
Yeah, but depending on how it feels playing Smash Brothers, which will eventually be ported to the best of our knowledge and rumors.
Oh, it will be.
Yeah. I think I might spring for one then, depending on,
Right.
how well finances are going. But I don't know. Other than that, I don't think it's going to make much of an impact for Nintendo. I think they're going to make a good amount of money selling different controllers to different people that have excess money to spend on them.
Excess.
Exactly. So I think that's basically our thoughts on the hardware. Did you have any final thoughts? Maybe just in general about the hardware. What is your gut reaction about it?
Well, I necessarily wouldn't say gut reaction, but are you sure that's not directional buttons there?
The D-pad?
It's not a D-pad, but the directional buttons.
No,
on
the
Joy-Con
D-pad.
L.
No one uses directional buttons when you're doing side down right. They want to glide it across the D-pad, For fighting games, very specific things. And 2D platformers, some people are really set on that D-pad.
I guess that's true.
And which is weird. I think it's weird that they got rid of the D-pad because they've held that patent on the D-pad for so long. I mean, Nintendo literally created the D-pad. So it's weird that they got rid of it. At least in my mind.
The buttons are still there.
Yeah, there will be directional
technically
inputs. You can input things with buttons on the controller. So I think that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm okay with not a traditional D-pad personally.
Me too. Come on, man.
Yeah,
I don't
them?
play fighting games, so for me, it's not a big deal.
Cool. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, that was it.
All right. Well, in that case, we have been Alex and
See you later.
Jared.
Bye.
Gross. That's making it in there somehow.